I can't be the only one who remembers Samurai Showdown here in America, can I? Oh, what the hell am I talking about? This is the internet. Everyone remembers everything. But you would be forgiven if you didn't know too much about the franchise. Born from SNK, the same people behind Fatal Fury and the King of Fighters games, the first title in the Samurai Showdown series was introduced in 1993, and despite its lukewarm reception here in the States, it would prove to be a massive hit in Japan, spawning at least one new game in the series every year for the next 6 years. But like most 90s video game properties, it experienced a lull in popularity, and the last released title, an anthology series of previously released games, came out in 2009. And also, just like most 90s video game properties, it too is being rebooted with an upcoming video game coming out later this year. What's old is new, and what's new is old. As for me personally, I only played the first Samurai Showdown on the Super Nintendo back in 1994, I want to say, and most of those memories are tied to me trying to cheese the hell out of the game by spamming Hanzo's fake wood attack on my brother. Well, of course you'd have to do that. But I want to assure everyone out there that there is nothing fake about my wood. You're better than that. You take that back! Regardless of my hazy memories of the game, I do recall liking it quite a bit, and being fascinated by the unique setting of the game. I think it might have been my first introduction to Japanese history, bastardized and strained to the breaking point as it is. Sure, it boasts a roster of real-life historical figures, your Hattori Hanzos, your Jubei Yagyus, your Shiro Amakasas, but it also featured Galford, the American ninja from San Francisco, in the 1780s. Maybe Beverly Hills Ninja has a firmer foundation than anyone gave it credit for. Or maybe SNK didn't give two craps and just wanted to have their own spin on ADK's World Heroes without being accused of being a Street Fighter clone, because when you break both games down, they're practically the same concept. A fighting game with historical caricatures duking it out. Hell, they even called both their ninja characters Hanzo. And they both had blonde Joan of Arc-inspired characters. And SNK even helped develop and publish World Heroes a full year before Samurai Showdown, and oh god, how deep does this rabbit hole go?! Either way you slice it, the video game still proved to be popular enough to spawn a franchise that spanned several console generations. And there have been anime adaptations off of far less worthy material. Entitled Samurai Showdown, the motion picture, Strike One! The anime was originally a made-for-television movie released in 1994 that was licensed in 1995 and dubbed into English in 1998 by ADV. Strike Two! And if I'm being honest, the anime itself isn't bad. It's your typical hero meets his ultimate destiny to destroy evil plot, and considering the source material, it didn't need to be more complicated than that. Wish a few other fighting games would take the hint. But like I said over and over again, we can't have nice things. And in the hands of ADV, what is tolerable and painless is groan-worthy and aggravating. Time to see if the anime can choke up or watch that third strike go flying by. This is Samurai Showdown. We begin with treachery, as it seems that a group of holy warriors has been betrayed by the most powerful among them, having sided with the evil god Ambrosia.
Join us, Hamaru, and Kokushin will crush those who stand against him.
Shido! How can you ask me to betray my god?
Oh boy! Not even 5 minutes into the anime, and we have an entire platter full of nope we gotta talk about. First, crash course history time for those who might not have heard this before, but Shiro here is Shiro Amakasa, an actual historical figure that tried to lead a Christian rebellion against the ruling shogunate in the 17th century. His rebellion failed, and he would be executed at the age of 17, his head piked right outside modern-day Nagasaki. These days, Shiro pops up in many forms of historical fiction, usually spouting some mystical powers based on the folklore of him being a saint sent to spread the message of God. And according to Samurai Showdown, that message is pain! Lastly, Shiro was a man, both historically and in the video game. I guess I don't envy ADV being in this position, since all they wanted to do was make a quick buck off a video game property, and then all of a sudden they were presented with a character that would just raise questions they weren't prepared nor wanted to answer. And thus, this also being the not as progressive as we remember it being 90s, they turned the main villain of the story from a feminine presenting man and rewrote him female. At the time, I don't think anyone would have known the difference. It's not like him being a man or a woman is crucial to him in his character, and at the very, very least, I suppose I can point to worse examples of 90s adaptation erasure. Anime abandoned, come for the crappy 90s OVAs, tolerate the brief asides on heteronormativity. But even with backup arriving in the form of the rest of the global task force that is the Holy Warriors, Shiro will not go down quietly, much to the chagrin of our protagonist, Haomaru. Which I believe roughly translates out to, please don't sue us, Capcom. The day is lost, as all 6 of the remaining Holy Warriors are felled, but their spirits escape and are destined to be reborn a century later. Well, either that, or Shiro only needed 6 Dragon Balls to summon Shenron. But I do have to ask, what year is this supposed to be? The games are set around the 1780s, but if we were skipping a century later, does that mean this was the 1680s? No, that can't be true, because Galford here is shown in San Francisco in the California territory, which didn't exist in the 1680s. So that must mean we're now in the 1880s. But that can't be true either, because we see Hattori Hanzo here, and he died in 1596. Time isn't a flat circle, it's a middle finger. And that middle finger seems to belong to a reborn Haomaru, waving it at all the pupils he defeats on his road to personal glory and trophy collecting. He seems to have no memory of being a holy warrior, despite the others having traveled to find him.
He's good, but he's not a samurai.
No, he's not the one.
I'll be. Well, that's the first time your nose has failed, puppy.
Galford's dog's name is Poppy, not Puppy. Or is the actor so terrible he can't even pronounce Poppy? There's no mincing around it. The dub for Samurai Showdown is just plain awful. Everyone sounds stiff and unnatural, the direction is asleep at the wheel, and half the time it doesn't even attempt to time the delivery to the lip flaps.
You challenge me? You're a fool!
Damn you. Kogen-san! What the?
Looking for me?
I can't even imagine how it feels to be a struggling voice actor, banging your head against the brick wall trying to make it in a tough and unforgiving industry, and then hearing these performances coming from random people who just so happen to be walking by at ADV once upon a time ago. At least I hope these are coming from random people, because if these are supposed to be actual actors, then I think the only course of action would be to nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Seems that Shiro has been a busy lady as she has taken over the shogunate and installed a puppet as shogun, but a rebellion is forming with Jubei, Hanzo, and Kyoshiro as they hear tell that the Holy Warriors are the one thing she fears. And she is right to fear them. If by right you mean insane. Yeah, movie, I saw Ninja Scroll too. In fact, I dare say I'd rather be watching that right now. Also, one last note, you guys do know that wasps can still sting you even if they're dead, so yeah, these kids here need to be screaming like they're stepping on hot coals. And before you can lather on the ointment, Haomaru has been dispatched to take care of a bear. A hornet's nest and now a bear. It's like he's glorified pest control. This really was based off a video game.
I'm sorry. May your spirit rest in peace.
Yeah, you'd think that'd be the end of it, but just watch. You take 3 steps in any one direction and then BAM! You're immediately mauled by 3 bears. And they won't stop coming either. You may have survived that encounter by the skin of your teeth and think, wow, I just killed 4 bears. There couldn't possibly be another— Oh, son of a bitch! I've been sitting on that rant for 4 years, people. But while Haomaru is finishing up Paddington, Shiro's men move on his village. For some reason. Like, it's established that they were sold out by this rat, but I still don't understand why they're killing the village if they're just after Haomaru, or why they even needed to buy out a rat to do it.
That's your reward, Mochiro. To be killed by me, Earthquake.
Tenta? Further confusing me is that when Haomaru finally gets back and starts cleaning house, Tenta here just sort of chimes in like, oh, you're here! Wasn't counting on that. So I ask again, why are they attacking this village? And why does Haomaru sound like he went to the Wahlberg School of Acting?
These men are our slaves. They'll do whatever I ask. I can have them burn their own homes, even kill their old friends like you.
What?
What? No.
Secret power!
God, he sounds like a kid play fighting with his friends.
I am Burag, and I have lots and lots of powers.
With his secret power, read the K-Groove, Haomaru wipes out Tenta and his men, but is too late to save his mother. But she confesses that she's not his real mother, and that she found him one day in the forest next to a sword. You know, just in case there weren't enough parallels between him and Ryu. And as Haomaru buries the only family he's ever known, the rest of the Holy Warriors pick the absolute worst time to try and jog his memory.
Calm down! It's me, Nakaruru! Don't you remember, Haomaru?
Don't you remember how I can moonwalk without even moving my feet?
Come on, Haomaru. How could you possibly forget Galford? And Puppy?
I sent you a Christmas card and everything. Actually, it just occurred to me, if everyone here lived 100 years ago and was reborn, does that mean that the dog is a holy warrior too? Or does Galford have a poppy puppy mill he doesn't like talking about? Anyway, Haomaru learns that the army that decimated his village and killed his mother is under the control of Shiro, and he understandably goes ballistic and literally runs to the capital to kill her, with the rest of the holy warriors dragging behind.
Have no fear. Galford's here.
I know! That's why we're fearing! Ugh, this guy. Just this guy, alright? He'd be king of this terrible dub if it weren't for the ill-advised efforts of one individual as she runs after Haomaru into H.R. Gigerland.
You cannot defeat Amaxa all by yourself.
Shut up! Get out of my way!
All right. But first you're going to have to kill me.
Don't threaten us with a good time, Tiffany. That's right, it's Tiffany Grant, putting on the absolute worst French accent we've heard since Vampire Wars.
Sacre bleu! If the Shashin find us, I will no longer be able to protect his body. Can't you remember your holy vows? Can't you hear the voices? Can't you forget the children calling you?
It's kind of like a hacky French accent. What have you been watching, like the Pink Panther?
And from here on out, she's practically the main supporting character. Oh, pitch me, I must be dreaming. It seems as if it's the worst of times, though, for our holy warriors, as the whole escapade proves to be a trap, and Shiro summons Ambrosia. I said Ambrosia! It's a real word, Nimrods. That's just the way the Japanese have to Romanize it. We don't call him Arukar, do we? I gotta be honest, the last act of the movie is just the utter pits plot-wise. It essentially boils down to the rest of the holy warriors trying to get Haomaru to calm down and not give in to his anger and evil temptations, which is about as interesting and unique an idea as a bad boy with a past. And didn't we just get through such a story in Street Fighter Alpha? Must we go through this same song and dance again?
You can't beat Amaxa all by yourself.
Ah, shut up!
What's the matter, Haomaru? Your mother was killed on my order. Don't you hate me?
And must we do so while listening to these performances? For 30 minutes? I'm not kidding, the last act of the movie is just Haomaru anger-gasming into a frenzy and Charlotte here trying to calm him down. It's so nakedly transparent that they didn't have enough plot or story to make up an entire movie's runtime that they even magically teleport both of them back to Haomaru's hometown.
This is his village. When we went through the gate, his subconscious mind must have brought us here.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
And while Haomaru's spirit, I suppose, struggles against the evil that tempts him, a week passes. That's right, you heard me correctly, he gets knocked out for a week. And Charlotte is still wearing her combat gear. God, her armor must smell like a paper mill in August.
Come to Ankokshin, Haomaru. Here is the power you seek.
Power!
But he pulls through, folks, and wakes up just in time to savagely murder a henchman in front of elated children.
He did it! Brother Haomaru, you did it!
Well, at least he didn't murder out of anger. And it also just so happens that Hanzo and his men are in the area and are ready to start an uprising against Shiro. Yeah, I nearly forgot about that plot point too. But it seems that they're not really needed because the Holy Warriors are now freed and can fight back, now that Charlotte and Haomaru have literally flown back to Shiro. Wait, they could do that now?
Die now, Haomaru!
Plasma Blade!
King of Bactilo!
Galford can throw kunai made of fire, Wanfu can also throw fire, and Nakaruru has a scarf. Glad you're on our side. With their powers combined, Haomaru just stabs Shiro and wins the day. Sure glad Haomaru learned the value of teamwork, and even as Ambrosia makes one last-ditch effort to make its presence known, it's still Haomaru single-handedly using Shiro's holy sword to slay it.
It's done. Good work, Haomaru.
All right.
Thanks to your help.
How the hell did he say that with a straight face? This movie just... damn. I mean, like I said, it's not bad, especially when you compare it to its contemporaries, but it's far from good, too. The plot is listless and stretched paper thin, the characters are barely there, and the actors are practically sleepwalking through their performances, when they aren't being laughably amateurish. It's as close to bare bones as you can get in a fighting game anime, and for that I can be appreciative, but there has to be something more to a movie than just being simple. But Fighting Game Month can't end on such a damn squib. It needs car crashes, it needs fireworks, it needs utter ridiculousness.
Yeah!